This is Jackets Debrief, a show about the Columbus Blue Jackets, the National Hockey League, and part of the Hockey Podcast Network. Hey everyone, welcome to the show this week. Kind of a little different, no guests this week, but we're just going to have some fun riffing on hockey, drinking some beer, having a good time. So I'm happy to have you along for the ride here today. Not a lot of news this week. We're all just kind of waiting. There's been reported stories and rumors and whatnot, but we don't really have anything concrete. Right now, from what I understand, the Board of Governors for the NHL is meeting on Wednesday. That's when they're having their call, so that's when we'll know more about when the season's actually going to start. The rumors are that guys are being told to get back for training camp January 3rd. A lot of players in different cities are already back, but we'll get more into the hockey talk here in a second. I'm going to start with the beer of the week. I highly enjoy the beer of the week because it allows me to drink while I do the show. This week's beer is from Millersburg Brewing Company. It is Edgy Elf. I got the 12-ounce can here. We're going to do the pour. Reading the description from their website. Edgy Elf. Once you take a sip, it's sure to keep you warm on the coldest of nights. With a cinnamon sugar rim and cinnamon spice finish, you might find you'll feel a little edgy too. These beers promise a lot, folks. That's what I've found from craft brewers. They love to have big fun descriptions there of what's going on. Okay, there's the cinnamon. Took a couple of sniffs there to get the cinnamon in. I now realize pouring things over a computer when you're recording stuff's probably not the best idea I've ever had, but we're doing it. We're in the midst of just a lot of bad ideas, but they haven't led me wrong so far. That I like that color a lot. That is a wonderful color for a beer. Oh, that's great. Got some nice fizziness going on. Not a whole lot of head, but then again, I pour these so I don't get a whole lot of head because that doesn't taste good at all. So let's see what happens here. Oh, you really get the cinnamon when it's open. Yeah, maybe it'll grow on me through the show, but yeah, I'm not a fan. What is... Man, you have so much of the cinnamon, especially in the aftertaste, that it's just not... Yeah, it's not... it's not what I would recommend there. At all, really. It's just not that. Just not what I would recommend. I'll say that for certain right now. Man, that cinnamon flavor is really strong, and I feel edgy, but it's not a good thing. So anyway, jumping into the hockey talk for this week. A story I haven't talked a lot about, but I'm excited to, is the Max Pacioretty rumors out of Vegas. Because with Max Pacioretty, talking about him, first of all, as far as a player goes, he's really good. For those of you who don't know, the Vegas Golden Knights have gotten themselves into all sorts of salary cap problems here. Right now, they are technically over the cap by just about $1 million. So they have to make some moves. The big thing was this offseason, they made the big move signing Alex Pietrangelo to a big deal with $8.8 million a year. And that was after signing Robin Leonard to the 5x5 year. So they've got a lot. They need to free up cap space. And it seems that they think Max Pacioretty might be the way to go on that. Now, Max Pacioretty is a very good hockey player. If you look at the stats, if you're watching the video version of the show, again, available on YouTube, or we do these live as well. He is he's a guy who last season, even in that shortened season there, got in 32 goals. I mean, every year the guy's in the 40-point club. He's a great winger. His possession metrics are strong as far as, his Corsi, all that kind of stuff. He's a really good player. And here's the thing where I think Jarmo Kekalainen is going to be interested in him. And there have been reports that the Blue Jackets are interested in Max Pacioretty. He's a left winger, so he fits kind of a position of need for Columbus. And he's still got 3 years left of team control. And he's 32. So if you can get the last, 3 good years out of Pacioretty, honestly 2 good years, and then you trade it and then he's done. Because that's the thing. When you trade for this contract, you're trading for it knowing you're not going to sign him again. You're going to get those 3 years and you're done. I mean, unless he's coming in at a super value deal or he maintains quality in a way that nobody really thought he was going to. When you get Pacioretty, that's it. You're getting him for those 3 years. The question is, what would the Blue Jackets have to give up? Now, the good news is the Blue Jackets, if they want to make a deal that's salary out, salary in, they could do that. They could go, we could trade somebody if we think there's somebody on the books who's just not there. I mean, you could do that and free up this space. Honestly, one that just came to me. So Max Pacioretty, he's got a contract worth $7 million. The Blue Jackets, now they would have to send something else because the Golden Knights aren't just going to trade him for nothing. That's not how this is going to happen. They're going to trade him saying, hey, we need... Honestly, what they really need is the space. I fully expect what they'll do is, because they've been trading prospects to get... Like, they traded Nick Suzuki, one of their highest rated prospects when they got Pacioretty to begin with. My guess is they're going to want prospects or picks back. But Vegas is not a team that's cash poor. So I could see the Blue Jackets saying, hey, here we go. Let's do this. Let's send you... honestly, for a player as good as Pacioretty, I would probably go a first, a second, some kind of prospect. Are you going to give him Foodie? Maybe, maybe not. But I mean, the idea behind getting Liam Foodie is Liam Foodie is going to be a good player. But he shoots left. I mean, the thing is, yes, Foodie would be on this team this year, but if you're replacing him with Max Pacioretty for 3 seasons, you're very much signaling a desire that you want to win now. And that's what this would be for the Blue Jackets if they go with Pacioretty, is to go to move now. And I can see them trading a couple of picks for that. I would look at working in the deal Brandon Dubinsky or part of Brandon Dubinsky's contract. Because what the Golden Knights can do, since they aren't cash, if they don't have an issue with cash, they can trade for Brandon Dubinsky. So they save $1.25 on salary as far as the cap goes. But Dubinsky also gives you where you can use him on your long-term injured reserve. So all of a sudden, Vegas goes from saying, okay, well, let's get a couple of firsts. And, we'll take this player back from Columbus because Columbus wants a little bit of cap space. They can put him on LTIR. So now Vegas has all the cap space they need, considering they freed up the million they needed to get under the cap. Then once the season starts, they have what, $5.5, $6 million more dollars available to them. So that would be a good move for them in my mind. I think it's not a bad way to go if you're the Vegas Golden Knights. I think the Blue Jackets, I'm to the point where if you want to trade a few futures to get us somebody, especially somebody for 3 years, I mean, this isn't a rental, which is where the Max Pacioretty deal would be good for the Blue Jackets. You're getting 3 years of a good player who's going to fill a need at that left wing. So I'm pretty happy about that potential. I think it's interesting as far as how they could go. Now, next story I wanted to get to here. We've got all sorts of talk about these new divisions. And again, this is still kind of up in the air as far as we don't exactly know. These are still subject to change by the time we get to the regular season there, or by the time we get to the actual the actual season on how this is all going to happen, or before we get a vote of the NHL Board of Governors. But the 4 divisions as they're looking to line up currently, you'd have an East, which is Boston, Buffalo, New Jersey, the Islanders, the Rangers, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Washington. A South Central, I guess you would call it, that is Carolina, Chicago, Columbus, Detroit, Florida, Minnesota, Nashville, and Tampa Bay. A West Division of Anaheim, Arizona, Colorado, Dallas, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, San Jose, and St. Louis. And then the All-Canadian Division, Ottawa, Montreal, Toronto, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver. Something that I have found to be an interesting question in all this is what teams are better off because of this for one season, and what teams are worse off. First of all, the team that everybody cares about that's listening to this show, the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets, in my mind, are better off. Because for the most part, you're thinking, hey, you're essentially trading teams out. Well, we've still got Carolina, but that's the only team we're carrying over. Okay, so what's one team we've lost? We've lost New Jersey. Well, New Jersey, I mean, if you think about, who was the worst team last year in the division versus the worst team this year, or the worst team last year in our division versus the worst team that we're going to get in this new division, I'd trade Detroit for New Jersey. Will Detroit be better this year than last year? Yes. Will they be anywhere near a playoff team? No. So I think they're better off there. When it comes to the Islanders, I mean, the good way to talk about this is, other than Tampa Bay, I mean, Carolina's good, but I think the Blue Jackets, when healthy, can be as good as Carolina and are as good as Carolina. So I'm of the opinion that the Blue Jackets can play for second in this division, and their top competition is Carolina, Nashville. I think they're still a lot better than Florida. They're definitely better than Chicago. They're definitely better than Detroit. I think they're better than Minnesota, who's kind of in a rebuild. I think they're better than Nashville, although Nashville will be kind of fun. You could almost see a one-year kind of pseudo rivalry because there have been trades between those teams. I'm interested in Columbus being in the same division as Tampa. One of the estimates was that teams would play every other team in the division 7 times this season to kind of make up their schedule of 56 games, which I think the math on that works out all right. Well, it wouldn't work out quite right, because if you only played them 7 times, you have 7 other teams in your division, so that gets you to 49 games. So it'd have to be even more than that. But the Blue Jackets and Tampa, kind of a budding rivalry in a lot of ways. I mean, at this point, their playoff series have both been memorable. Obviously, the first one was the sweep the Blue Jackets did of the Lightning. The second one during the bubble hockey there. Obviously, we had the 5 overtime game that was just insanity. Tampa won it that series 4-1. So I think something going between Tampa and Columbus would be fun. That being said, Carolina's in a better position in this division. I think so. Because again, you're not having to play Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Washington, and the Islanders, and the Rangers, who are up and coming. I mean, you're not having to play them either. So I think you're trading off for worse for teams that aren't as good. I think that all those teams in the Eastern Division, their life got a lot harder. Because if you're Boston, you're like, hey, we get to play Florida a couple times a year. We get to play Ottawa a few times a year. We get to play these other teams a few times a year. You're trading out all your easies. I mean, in that East, other than Buffalo and I guess New Jersey, everyone else could give you a fight to get into the playoffs. So that's going to be that whole division. There's not a team in that division that things didn't get harder for, because it was kind of a consolidation. I mean, essentially it was the Metro, and then the substitute out Columbus, Carolina, and put in Boston and Buffalo. Yeah, Buffalo's a step down in competition from either Columbus or Carolina, but Boston is probably a step up. So I think everything got, if you're in that Eastern division, everything got harder. If you're in that Central, like Tampa, I think Tampa's just licking their chops and what they've got coming up. If you're in the East, or if you're in the Western division, I mean, you're trading out good teams for good teams. Because all of a sudden, you got San Jose and LA and Arizona or Anaheim. They're now having to deal with Colorado, Dallas, St. Louis. 3 really good teams. 3 teams that are better than them. Who'd they trade out? Calgary, Vancouver, and Edmonton. So you traded 3 really good teams for 3 good teams. So I don't think there's a big loss there. If you're in Canada, I think life got harder because there's really, in my mind, only one team in that if they were making the playoffs, it'd be a surprise, and that's Ottawa. So I think what we're looking at there is a tougher division. So if you were going to ask me what we're looking at here as far as everything goes in the East, things got harder for you. If you're a team that's going to be in this year's Eastern Conference, Eastern Division, if you're in that Central, and you are, what I think are the top 3 teams in there: Tampa. Gee whiz, somebody help me! Tampa, Carolina, and Columbus. I think life got a little bit easier. If you're the other teams, if you're Chicago, the idea of saying, okay, well, we get Detroit back and we're not playing St. Louis this year, that's going to help you out as far as record wise. Maybe one of those teams make the playoffs, but if I was making the guess today, who makes the playoffs out of the Central, it's Tampa Bay, Carolina, Chicago, Nashville. So that's what I'd say there. If you're in the new West, I think you're kind of same old to an extent. Obviously it's different teams, but I think life's still going to be hard for you if you're not really good in the West. And then obviously Canada is just harder as well for those teams because you don't have rebuilding teams anymore that you're playing against. So that would be my take on those divisions. So that's where we're at there. One other story I wanted to talk about, because it just, well, first of all, getting into the actual news of where we're at with the next season starting, we're at a place of, we're waiting on this Board of Governors meeting to approve what's going on. It looks like the players won in their game of chicken with the owners, as far as making sure there were no concessions, because there aren't going to be any concessions for this season. So we're getting a season, it looks like, which is good. This is all obviously pending what COVID actually does, because if there's outbreaks and things get shut down, or whole teams get shut down, obviously that we can't plan on right now. So we'll see what happens. I did see that in the ECHL, the Cincinnati Cyclones, they've shut down for the season. They're just not playing, which stinks for that fan base. But at the same time, we talk about how the NHL is reliant on gate revenue. That's infinitely more for something like the ECHL. Nobody has the ECHL does not have TV deals. If they do, they've got that one local station who maybe they pay for airtime and then they try and sell the commercials or something. It's just not a business model that's going to survive something like this when you can't have spectators. I saw rumors saying that this may be the end of the team. I don't know if that's true at all. That just seems like rumors. My guess is the way the ECHL is structured, if they have to shut down for a season, they're not paying out a bunch of people. They'll probably have to lay some people off, which is bad. But if you don't have any money coming in, it's not like ECHL teams are just raking in the cash or anything. So we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll get a similar situation what happened with I think it was the Jacksonville Everblades or something. I think Tim Tebow and a few other people got together and bought that team in the ECHL. Maybe something like that happens for Cincinnati. Who knows? But maybe everything's just fine there, and it's just going to be a season without hockey down there in the Natty. Last story I wanted to discuss, and it's one that, as a Blue Jackets fan, I found infinitely hilarious. Because a few weeks back, we talked about Dom Luszczyszyn of The Athletic did his fan confidence rankings when it came to front office and ownership. Well, and this happened back on November 30th, so it's been a couple of weeks. But NBC Sports, they're Adam Gretz, NHL Power Rankings, ranking the NHL general managers. Where do you guys think Yarmo ended up on this list? Because there's the top, the elites. He wasn't there. That takes us 1 through 5. Established names and strong track records. Starts with Lou Lamoriello at 6. Goes down to Brian McClellan at the Washington Capitals at 9. Then we get to definitely above average. We start with Kelly McCrimmon of the Vegas Golden Knights. Nope, that gets us 13. Middle ground. Jeff Gorton of New York Rangers is number 14 there at middle ground. Last one in that group is 22 at Kevin Cheveldayoff. There's Jarmo Kekalainen, 19th. 19th. I'm sorry, that's silly to me. Because you talk about general managers. And I get it that Jarmo doesn't have a ton of success at this point. Granted, he had to completely rebuild this franchise. But essentially, this is saying that Mark Bergevin is better than Jarmo Kekalainen, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't see. The GM of the Los Angeles Kings, who, while he may be good, I mean, if the knock on Jarmo Kekalainen is you haven't done anything yet, all the Kings have done is start tearing things down and trying to make trades. So that one surprises me. Jeff Gorton, if it wasn't for the Panarin deal and the number 1 pick they got this year, both I would say are a bit of luck when it comes to what Gorton's job has done. Because let's be clear here, it's not like the GM of the New York Rangers did some amazing sales pitch to Artemi Panarin, and that's why he went there. Artemi Panarin was always going to New York City. He wanted to go to a big city. That's what he wanted to do. And then they get the number 1 overall pick by the luck of a dang lottery ball. I mean, of course, they look. Oh, he's 14th. He's real good there. Ken Holland. I don't know how you say Ken Holland's on this list. I mean, the end of his Detroit tenure was not good, but I like his start in Edmonton as he helps to clean up Peter Chiarelli's mess. This offseason has been especially productive with the cheap additions of Tyson Barrie, Kyle Turris, and Dominic Cahoon. Most of the team that's done anything is the team that was there when he got there. He traded away a bunch of second-round picks for players that he didn't even bother keeping when it came to Andreas Athanasiou and Mike Green. Of course, I think Mike Green retired. But either way, traded a bunch of second-round picks he had nothing to show for it. So that doesn't make sense to me. Kyle Dubas. This one I find interesting. The most polarizing general manager in hockey, mainly due to his perception within the insane hellscape that is the Toronto hockey scene. Overall, I like the moves he makes. He has a plan, he sticks to it, and he does not let outside voices dictate his path. The lack of postseason success combined with Lamoriello's success in New York has put a massive target on his back. Winning in the playoffs will change that. Sometimes that requires forces beyond the general manager's control. That exact paragraph, with the exception of saying they're polarizing and talking about Toronto hockey scene, could be said about Jarmo Kekalainen. The lack of postseason success has put a massive target on his back. Winning in the playoffs will change that. Sometimes that requires forces beyond the general manager's control. He's won more in the postseason than Dubas and the Leafs have. I mean, let's be clear. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying any of these guys are bad. I just find the power ranking of it to be arbitrary and strange and probably based on just overall media perceptions. But a bit of it's garbage. The Jim Rutherford one at 8 is hilarious. That one's hilarious. That one's ridiculously bad. In terms of entertainment value, he is in the class all by himself because he never stops trading people. He has won 3 Stanley Cups with 2 different organizations, and that commands respect. There have been a lot of home runs with Pittsburgh in terms of his roster moves. He also had some massive swings and misses. The latter has happened far more frequently the past few years and might close their window faster than it should. Jim Rutherford inherited something that was ready to continue a dynasty. And yeah, and the thing is, yes, they've won cups, but it's not anything he did. It's hanging on to what the Pink ones had. Honestly, the one they had against Nashville, they were kind of lucky in that one. They just happened. They got puck luck in that series. They had a better shooting percentage. Now, some of that is they have talent that has a better shooting percentage, but I remember Nashville pretty much dominating that series. Rutherford at 8 is silly to me. That doesn't make any sense. And I guess he's including, combination of career achievements. So I guess that's what gets him that high. when I think of a power rankings, I think of who do I want in terms of in front of my office right now? Who do I want running things right at this moment? Some of these high up guys I could definitely see. Joe Sakic, Steve Yzerman. Those guys I think are hard not to say, yes, that's who I want. But some of these just seem kind of arbitrary and strange to me. So I don't get that. I think Yarmo, again, it's just the Columbus thing. Oh, you're Columbus. Nobody has strong feelings one way or another. So that is what it is. Although I will say one group that now has very strong feelings about Columbus is Seattle soccer fans, which I I find to be fun because you know what? I want Columbus to be. I think it'll be better when the Blue Jackets are hated a little bit because that'll mean they're good. Right now, there's still this sense of not really liking or hating them. And I think you want to start beating some teams so teams don't like you anymore. So that's where I'm at. That's where I would hope to see. So, you know what? Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for listening. If you like the show, like it, rate it, however, whatever you're looking at there. Thank you very much for watching, listening, whatever it is you're doing, and go Jackets. Please subscribe to the show, follow us on Twitter @JacketsDebrief, and thank you for listening.